Welcome. We are going to cover the outside of our album, and this is pretty much how I've got it laid out. We wrap this in red, but I want to break the pattern up a little bit here. So we're going to line first with a piece of white cardstock so that it allows the green to pop. I have not decided if I want to do another one to allow the blue to pop. So I'll be thinking about that while I'm putting this on. So I've got the green. This is out of the Patterns and Solids, out of the 12 by 12. And then this is out of the 12 by 12. This is out of an 8 by 8. It's considered their Pattern and Solids. It kind of threw me a little bit because mostly on the 8 by 8 you have that information half piece across the top. It's not on these, so don't let that startle you. Now we've got a lot of ribbon if you've ordered the bundle from Scrap and Create. If not, then you can use whatever ribbon you have in your stash. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. I really want to put this ribbon down here. And I'll put it together a lot better. I was overnight trying to think of how I'm going to do this, and I think I'm going to have to run a strip. I want to put tape. It's going to be more durable, less messy. So I'm going to put tape on the back side of the blue, the green, and then putting some tape on the back side of the red will be a lot easier. But we're going to use the rims on the other two. This piece is out of the sticker sheet. This is out of the chipboard pieces. And then I've got some ephemera. These are snowflakes. I'm popping them up so that there's a little bit of depth. This is an ephemera piece as well as this. But this is one of the small cutout cards out of the 12 by 12 pack. And then this is an ephemera piece as well as this. Down here we have a cluster of poinsettias that are in the ephemera, and I'm just going to kind of stack them in here. This one I'm raising up as well as this one so that there's some depth here in the corner. And then this is one of the large 4 by 6 cutouts. Now I'm going to line this with red bling, and if you have it, great. If you don't have it, you can substitute it or you can just leave it off. I think it adds a lot of brightness to the front of it. You could run a pearls if you've got that. And you can see here on the tape, I'm not wasting tape or bling in this bottom corner because this cluster of floral will be covering that. Now, there are other cards. You can certainly pick whichever one it is that you want to do. So I'm going to start with getting all these papers down before we embellish, because there's going to be a challenge putting this ribbon on. I think I know how I want to go about doing it. You can't put it down flat. So the album cannot lay like this when we're putting the ribbon on. You'll have your paper and your decorations, but you're going to need to put this at a tad bit of an angle when we run the tape and the ribbon so that this will allow it to open and close. I hope that makes sense, because if we do this and we go to close the album, there's going to be so much stress on that ribbon. It may not allow this to open up right. So we're going to put this on at an angle once we get it there, so we'll have to be very careful. Let's go ahead and move a lot of this stuff off. If you decide that it's too much of a hassle and you do not want to do the ribbon, I get that. I'm just going to take all of these and I'm going to slide them over here, and I'll put you over here. Okay. Starting with the back piece. I'm going to add these two together right now, and then I will tape the back of this and put it on the album. Now, when I trimmed this, I allowed for about an 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, it looks like. 1/16 of an, no, it's an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And let's go ahead and mount this as well. I'm not inking this album. The white edges don't bother me so much because we have a lot of light colors in this collection. Just now, when I mark my cardstock, my white cardstock, okay, that's for the back. I need to go back here. Now I've got to figure out which way is up. That's this way. Okay, so I am coming in again about 1/16 of an inch off the edge, off these 3 edges, and it will allow this one to fall where it needs to fall. And then I'm matching up the same thing here with the pattern paper. Now, I know you've got, some of you are curious, so mine measured out right at 9 inches by, we'll say 8 3/4. And when you trim this, you do need to make sure that you're putting it on the correct panel. I have, because I do little tick marks, unless you want to just absolutely measure it so that you know, once I get my tick marks and then I trim, I put this is back panel and F for front panel. And I do the same thing here with the spine. I come in and I mark where I need that to be, and then I trim this piece to the white cardstock. Now I'm going to tape this down because it's important to me that this is really secured down onto the album. Now, if you want to glue your entire piece, there are no rules. Just do whatever you're the most comfortable with. Oh, and I just realized I got to put my ribbon down before I put anything down. I'm using a bright, beautiful red for my ribbon closure. Put this in the center because this piece will go down first and then I can remove everything here. So let's find our 4.5 center here. We want to be right here. And then because it's 9 by 9, 4.5 is going to be our center. And I had not intended that to be that deep. I always pull my tape back a little bit because as you're flexing that ribbon, I don't like to see the tape underneath the ribbon, so I always pull it back just a hair. Just kind of my style, whatever. Mount it the way you're most comfortable with. Okay. Now it's 36 inches. It's 1 yard of ribbon cut in half. And once we get this done and you've tied your bow, then you can decide if you want to cut the ends off so that it is shorter. I'm only putting about, I think it's about 2 inches on here. All right, now we'll get back to putting this on. Okay, lining it up here on the edges. And by doing the center, I'm able to manipulate this, and then if I have to, I can shift it before I make the commitment with rest of the tape. I hope my ribbon goes down the right way. I really do. So you might want to watch this step before you just jump in there and do it. Because if I make a mistake, then you learn by it and you don't make the same mistake I did. All right. Okay, so that's the back. And now we're going to this piece. It doesn't really matter so much. I'm just going to spread that out. Get some glue on this. And we've got these rolls here, so I'm going to do my best to center this in between them. And if I cut this right, these should line right up with each other here. Okay, so now let's work on this piece. Okay, I already did mark that. This is such, I mean, you can go either way with this pattern, but like I said, once I got it trimmed, I needed to indicate which was my top and which was my bottom. I'll erase it here in a minute. Get some tape on this. Okay, so this is the top because I've got it marked right there. Okay, so let's take this off. So you can see how that white is really helping to brighten up these two and allow them to showcase themselves a lot better. All right, so this piece here, out of the 8x8, I purposely trimmed it in the hopes that I could have some of the white, this is the way it goes, some of the white stars all the way around it. Oh, I got it marked as my top. So if that is something you want to try to achieve, then you'll need to just kind of trim this back just a little bit. And then I'm going to just glue this down. I got to get this down before I can do the ribbon, because it's going to go over it. It's not going to be perfect, but I can get it on here. All right, so now I'm going to set this aside because two of these I need to run some skinny tape along these edges. So if you will bear with me, this is where I think it would be best. Let me do mine, and then if I've miscalculated again, it's not going to end up being your mistake. Now, if I had planned ahead, I would have already done this. I can't put tape in the center because the shininess of it will show. Boy, I missed the mark on that, didn't I? Hold on here just a second. Okay, that's not going to come up off there, so I'll deal with it here in a minute. This is a painfully slow process. I'm so sorry. Like I said, I should have done this before. Oops. Okay, let's get the green one out here. I better do the same thing. I'm not going to use glue because that glue is going to spread and it's going to get in underneath this mesh part, and I don't know that I would like the look of that, so I'm not going to do that, and it would be extremely messy to try and put glue on this thin strip that I am attempting to do the tape on. trying to be a little more diligent about making sure I'm on the inside of this edge, because I have to take care of some on the blue one. Here we go, last strip. Go get a cup of coffee, come back. I'm so sorry. Now I think I'm going to start my layer with the red tape, or the red ribbon, because it's a heavier ribbon, both in looks and structure. So I think I'm going to start with it so it's on the bottom, and then I will layer up with the green and the blue. Okay. And then I'm going to take 1/4 inch tape. This should be really fast. Because there's okay, that's done. Just a second, I dropped something. I've got to get it off the floor before I ruin it. Okay. All right, now this is where I thought about this last night, and it's like, okay, how am I going to accomplish this? I think I want this ribbon to come across here, across the blue. So that's going to set my basis. So that means I'm going to be a 1/2 inch up from the bottom all the way around. It's easy for me to do that here, but here, not so much. So if I can, here, I'll do it this way. So I'm going to come in a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to draw a pencil line straight across, because the pencil will be covered. Okay, so 1/2 inch all the way across. This way it ensures that I'm level. I need to cap this. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to straighten this out because the tape is giving it kind of a little bumpy look to it. So hold on here just a second. All right, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to go red, blue, and then the green through here. I am going to, now I cut this so that there was about 1/4 of an inch on each end. I do not know if that's going to hold true once this is... Yeah, so I'm going to have a little bit left over here, so I will make sure that I start on an end, and then I can trim off the excess. I've got some tape on there. It comes with the ribbon. That's how they keep it on the in the roll. All right, I want to trim on the back. So I'm going to start with the front part of this. I'm just going to take it off at a section at a time. So I'm going to bring it right up to the green. I don't need it to go all the way. And then I'm going to follow the bottom of the blue paper. And then here is where I'm going to open this up just a little bit. And now I will lay the rest of this down. A little bit of a tweak there because of the tape. All right. So I'm going to snip this right here and get rid of my pencil mark on the end, and then I'm going to take, get this off my finger, and seal this so it doesn't thread apart. Okay, it's not as straight as I'd hoped, but right here I'll have a cluster. Okay, so now we're going to start with, I want to finish with the green. So now I'm going to go with the blue. I am going to try and burnish this, get the wrinkles out of it. Now right here I have a section of tape that I did not put this on very well, so I'm going to have to try and maneuver the ribbon over it. Okay, peeling these back very carefully. Pull that tweak out. Set it right there. Line this up. I'm going to roll that tape up as best as I can up under the ribbon because I wasn't focused on the edge. I was focused on the inside of it, and I would rather have had that show up here than to be on the edge. Okay, so let's follow this along. Okay. Big old man. You know what? The green's going to go over it, so I'm just going to not fuss with it. Now the green. I'm just giving this a good tug. Okay, so I'm going to open and close this, and this will tell me if I did this right, because otherwise I'm using a lot of undo to get this ribbon off of here. Now I had a little bit of a bulge right here, so what I did, because I'm really concerned about this, is I pressed the bulge towards the spine rather than pressing it in this way. That way the excess, the loose part of it. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. I'm not worried about this cap here. And then if you open this up, there, look, see, it's going to work. Just need to press the tape down. So you're going to have some ridges here. They need to be on the spine edges where the book opens and closes. Look at that. Ta-da! Okay. Whew. Miss Nervous Nelly here. Now I'm going to add a little bit of this. Oh, I cut that at the wrong spot. Okay, that'll dry fairly quickly. And layering it red, blue, green keeps the green off of this edge here. So there we go. All right, now let's play the easiest. I think I'm going to add this to the back because it's kind of compromised. I dropped it on the floor, so I need to add a little bit of glue to this. This is out of the sticker. It is the Christmas door, and I'm just going to put it right here. But I am going to add some glue to make sure it stays down there. Just up about 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. And then this guy out of the chipboard pieces. All right, now we can start decorating the front. So let's get all of our pieces back here. All right, this is going to come down here. So you have blue on, you have the ribbon coming out, peeking out, but it's going to ride up next to the red. And then I may raise it. This is too low. Oh, here, that's right. Here we go. That's going to go there. The postage stamps are out of the ephemera, and they're going to line in right here. This piece is out of the ephemera, and I want it right there. The bows with the Christmas ornament is going to go right here. And then Merry Christmas will come in here across the top. And then we're going to just, wherever you want, we're going to strategically place some of these snowflakes. And I thought, oh, here it is. I thought I had one more. All right. So this is how we're going to set up first, and then we'll add the floral cluster down here so you can see how the layering is going to be. So the first piece that's got to go down is this one. And then we're going to follow with this one and this one. So let's remove this and let's remove these. And then I'm going to kind of leave these two in place. Okay. Don't do that. Goodness sakes, Charlie. Now I've got to put this back on here so I can figure out where I was placing these. So I want this end to come in just a little bit off the blue. And then I want the poinsettia flower sticking up. So let's put this on. And then we'll put this on. So it will come across right at the base of the leaves, and it will come in about 1/4 of an inch. And now we can put this down. So it will come in here about yay. Now, before I put anything else on, I'm putting the bling on. I don't want to put the bling on working over other pieces. So we're going to start up here in this corner, and we're going to run it right there, and I'll cut these two ends off. And then this last short strip. Come on, lay down there. Okay. Now I am comfortable finishing this. So let's finish the top part. We have the ephemera Christmas ornament. I wanted to try to hide that stem, so maybe I'll put a Christmas ornament there. I'm popping this up. So we'll put Merry Christmas here across the top. Now I have a small snowflake, or I have I'm going to use the large one. I'm just whimsically putting them just any old place. Now we'll work with this cluster. So if I've gauged this right, it will be this one will go down first. I may need to do some adjustments. And then there is the bigger one with the holly across the bottom. Be sure to punch out these spots on some of the ephemera. And then I have the pine cone, which I want to come in right here so that's right at the end of that set of bling. And then we have what looks like to be, oh gosh, what are these holly berries? Mistletoe with a bow. And we're going to kind of just sneak this right in about there. Okay, so that is our album composition. Now, if you want to come in with some gold glitter, you can enhance this. If you've got Wink of Stella, you can, and you know what? I do, and I think I'm going to do that. I want this to pop. So I'm going to Wink of Stella these stars, snowflakes, I mean. And I'll provide a link to Scrap and Create. They do carry this if you don't have it. And if you haven't been by their store, they've got great sales going on right now. That gives that a nice little pop. I was thinking about adding it some down in here. Maybe let's just do these gold shoulder. We don't necessarily need them to be in your face, but it would be kind of nice if there was a little bit of sparkly down here. Okay, there we have it. So if there's any part of this you don't like, you can certainly make the changes. It's your album, and I will see you when we come back for building on the inside. Bye-bye.